Managers are like the weirdest people. Here you have somebody who doesn't do any real work and they just tell everyone else to do work instead. And then they sit in meetings all day long talking about who knows what, probably just regurgitating information they know nothing about, and then making up random timelines and patting themselves on the back. Then, when it's all said and done, guess who gets credit for all the work and takes home the highest paycheck? The manager. It's a role I really don't understand, and according to management experts, a manager's primary responsibility is to coach other people on their careers. I mean, really? Do managers actually do that? That's news to me. By the way, if my manager is watching this video is clearly not about you. You are a great manager, a fantastic person, and I'd let you date my sister if she was still single. I'm just a bitter ex-manager trying to rationalize my personal career failures. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So all managers are these heartless, soulless people who have given up their sense of humanity and have chosen to represent the company instead of individual human beings like you and me. It takes a special type of person to be a manager, and so you can't talk to a manager normally like you would a regular person like me, for example. You have to talk to them special. And so, as someone who has been on both sides of this equation but has since atoned for my sins, here are my 3 tips on how to talk to these special people, these managers. Tip number 1, simplify. You know, managers are such important people. They've got all these very important meetings to attend because otherwise they'd have to do actual work. And so when you finally get the chance, the privilege to talk to a manager, probably in between their meetings, you got to get to the point and fast. You don't want to be the reason why your manager is late to their next meeting. Never mind the fact that they're always late to your meetings. That's different. Anyway, you got to keep it dead simple because remember, managers don't actually do any real work. And so if you start talking about anything even remotely technical, well, your manager's a fish out of water. But they're going to sit there nodding their heads, pretending like they know what you're talking about because, they got appearances to keep up. Instead, keep it high level. Focus on just the most important points, then send your manager the detailed information separately in an email. Sure, they'll never read it, but at least they can pretend they did. Tip number 2. Bring solutions, not problems. The last thing you want to do is make your manager think. Remember, your manager doesn't have the faintest idea how to do your job. So if you're all of a sudden up in their grill bringing them problems that need to be solved, well, guess who actually solves all the problems on the team? It's you. So what you want to do instead is you want to come up with a solution yourself. Then you want to pretend like you're a manager and come up with 1 or 2 other inferior solutions. Finally, you want to package all these options up into a nice and easy to read document that even a toddler could understand. Then you give it to your manager to make the final decision. There's a good reason why you want to do things this way. See, because managers have no idea what they're talking about most of the time, they're deathly afraid of being exposed as frauds. But now that you've done all the research for them, they can now just freeload off your work and pretend like they know what they're talking about. Even better, by giving your manager the final decision, you are reaffirming their authority on this team, which temporarily suppresses their feelings of impostership. This is important because you never want your manager to feel like their back is against the wall, because that might trigger their fight or flight response, and who knows what'll happen then. Let me give you an example of all this. This is how you bring solutions, not problems, to your managers. Let's say you're running out of storage in whatever system you're using. It's an important problem that needs to be solved soon. Now, typically, what most people would do is they would run up to their manager and say, "David, we're running out of storage in our system. What should we do?" While this seems reasonable, this is actually the last thing you want to do. Because remember, your manager hasn't the faintest idea of what to do. But now that you've come up to them, asking them for a solution to a problem, your manager now has 2 problems. Trigger the fight or flight response. Here's what you should do instead. Before bringing this up to your manager, you do a little research on your own and figure out that you can free up a ton of storage if you just delete some unnecessary data. That's option A. But now you need to come up with a few more options to make it seem like you exhausted every possible angle. So option B is you buy more storage, and option C is you switch to a different storage system with more lenient limits. You package all this up into a nice, easy to read document with the pros and cons to each solution, then you let your manager make the final decision. And you've done such a good job cooking the data that no matter how incompetent your manager is, they will choose your preferred option. It's a win-win situation. You get the solution of your choice, your manager gets their feeling of power, and most importantly, your manager starts to realize that they will be absolutely screwed without you. Tip number 3, play chess, not checkers. Now, supposedly, chess is a lot more complicated than checkers. I wouldn't know. They're both complicated to me. But in chess, you supposedly think multiple moves ahead. You anticipate the moves of the other player and you cover them early. Same concept with your manager. Before you say or write anything to your manager, you ask yourself, how are they going to respond? What are they likely to ask you next? Then, before your manager even has the chance to ask you these questions, you answer them. You save everyone at least one round trip, and your manager suddenly starts to think you're a prophet. Amazing. All your manager can really do is nod their head in approval. Example time. Let's use our previous example of running out of storage. And let's say you already did the right thing and proposed options A, B, and C. And your manager chose option A, which is to delete unnecessary data in the system. Excellent. You were already playing chess by proposing these solutions to your manager. But now it's time for 3D chess. Ask yourself, what is your manager likely to ask you after choosing option A? Think about that for a moment. Pretend like this is work. What is your manager going to ask you? Well, here's what I can imagine some managers asking. How do we prevent ourselves from running out of storage again in the foreseeable future? Or how long do we have until we run out of storage again? If you weren't playing 3D chess, these questions could completely blindside you. And you thought you were smart, bringing up all these original solutions to your manager, but now you're just standing there scrambling to find a thought and looking dumb. And your manager senses blood and says, "Gotcha! See, that's why I'm paid more than you are." And they're right. They've got the vision, and you don't. Unless, of course, you were playing 3D chess, and you already included answers to those questions in your original proposal. You're going to delete unnecessary data to solve the short-term problem, then you're going to build some sort of automation that archives unused data moving forward. And just to be safe, you're going to set a calendar reminder to remind yourself to audit your storage every quarter. Boom! In this scenario, your manager just stands there dumbfounded. Not only did you come up with great solutions, but you covered every possible angle thereafter. Now your manager's thinking, wow, that's a great peasant right there. Not only does this person make my job easy, this person also makes me look good. And well, now you're on the good list. And if you keep doing this, you're going to be on the great list. And not just with your manager, but with every other leader you've been using these techniques on. Because you've made them all look good, and thus you are now indispensable. So guess who's getting approved for that next raise? The thing I haven't mentioned about all these techniques is you are subconsciously starting to do your manager's job. By making it so easy for your manager to make decisions, you have shown people that you yourself have management potential. And this is your out. You've been working so hard on the grind, keeping your skills up top notch, that this is your chance to finally get out of the technology rat race. Take it easy and start making other people do all the real work instead, while you take all the credit. This is your chance to become a manager. And so that's basically what I did in my early and mid-20s to become a manager at one of the greatest companies in the world. And if you follow these tips too, you too are going to get the shot to become a manager in your company. The real question after that is whether or not you want to actually sell your soul to your company and serve as a manager for them, which is a topic I might cover sometime down the line. At the very least though, you prove to your leadership team that you're a competent person and you should be paid like a competent person. If you're this strategic with your work, surely you'll be this strategic finding better opportunities elsewhere. And that is something your manager simply cannot afford. Shout out to all the great managers I've had who taught me these techniques and gave me the opportunities to succeed. A bad manager has the power to make someone's life completely miserable, but a great manager has the power to make someone's life amazing. And so thank you to all the managers who have helped make my life amazing so far. You're not all heartless and soulless people, and I hope to do you right by passing these techniques on. Hope you all like this video and you subscribe for more career tips like these. I believe everyone has the potential for greatness. Sometimes you just need that little extra kick, like I fortunately received so many times in my career. I'll see you next time.